with Zach Peterson. Whatever you're doing, stop it and listen to this podcast called Stop It with Zach Peterson. I am Zach Peterson, and this is the podcast Stop It. You can, when you get done listening to it, you can stop it, but until then, we can just go listen to this podcast called Stop It with Zach Peterson. Stop it, please, Zach Peterson. All right, with me today,
that was great.
It's a bad one.
Okay.
I'm trying to do it differently every time, and I'm seeing where it goes. See if I can find gold. I can't. I haven't found anything.
Well, you're having a good time, right? Okay, so
all right. We're back in the studio. This is the first episode back in like 4 or 5 episodes.
Where were you?
I was at home.
Oh,
they redid something. I don't know what they did. It's the same.
yeah. Maybe it's that outlet over there that's crudely cut out of the wall. Yeah. That looks like it took a while.
Yeah, I mean, you try redesigning a studio with a kitchen knife.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
All right, everyone knows who I am. I'm Zach Peterson from Stop It with Zach Peterson. But please, both of my guests, please introduce yourself and tell people why they should care.
Well, this is I'm going to introduce him. This is Sukhjit Singh. He's a comic, I would say a comedy renaissance man.
Okay.
Out of Chicago, dabbling in the finer points of comedy. Mainly ukulele-based comedy, and improv where he plays only animals. So this is Sukhjit, and then I'll let him give a short little intro on me.
This is Evan Hall. First and foremost, big fan of Israel. And that's kind of what he bases all of his comedy around. It's just kind of promoting the state. I don't know if I should have. That seems like a unwise thing to start with.
Well, but you did it, and I didn't give you a chance to turn down anything I said, but I felt like I was pretty easy on you, so here we are.
Israel and ukulele. I took quite offense to the ukulele thing.
I can tell based on the venom in your words. You said he's a big supporter of Israel.
Well, I'm sure that this will play great into the Midwest audience.
Yeah. That's all we can hope for, right? And you know what? Let's let them think what they want to think. And if you have any issues with what Sukhjit has said, please feel free to DM me on Instagram.
Yeah, not
me.
We
can have a lively conversation.
Hey, this podcast is all about unpredictability and just trying our best. So can't blame me.
No, don't blame Zach for my views on Israel. And by the way, whatever your views on Israel are, those are mine.
Oh, boy. Yeah. There's no reason to feel nervous.
Said with confidence.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Well, let's get to the bucket. Do you know about the show? What the show is?
Yeah, we're gonna pull some questions from the bucket. We're gonna answer them. We're gonna try to stay away from our volatile views on Israel,
on the current state of the world,
which we don't have.
Yeah. This is like
I'll cut it short.
I have gotten almost zero feedback about this show. I've had people email me and tell me like science facts. I'm like, okay, cool. I forget what it was about. Yeah, someone emailed me to tell me why birds don't get electrocuted on power lines.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, cool. Zach can't read.
I think they just said magic.
And by the way, if you do have any scientific facts about the state of Israel, please feel free to bombard. And I say that word very deliberately. Bombard Zach's inbox with those. So go ahead.
What's your website?
What, my website?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's okay.
Stopitpod.com to submit all questions, but no complaints.
No complaints.
All right. What's something about you that people misunderstand?
Well, I feel like we covered it already. I don't know. You want to go first? You want to take this one?
Yeah. What? And we're not doing the whole thing. Yeah, I think I kind of nipped that in the bud as soon as I did the Israel thing, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're not going to do it back and forth anymore. What people misunderstand about me? I think one is obvious. I think a lot of people think I'm Muslim. That's cool.
Are you not?
Recently changed. Yeah, recently changed.
I'm so proud of you.
I think I am sick, and that's hard to like explain to people who don't, especially in the Midwest. Some people are like, right. Well,
yeah, I was just gonna say, for the Midwesterners out there, you've been saying it's Sikh all these years.
Yeah,
so that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I did have a lady in Detroit correct me for
that was fun. I was there for that.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, isn't it Sikh? And I was like,
yeah, you're right. Yes, my bad. So sorry. On stage.
Yeah.
Just happened on stage. She yelled it to him from the crowd.
Isn't it Methodist?
Yeah. So I think that's probably misunderstood, but otherwise I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty well understood to be caring and nice.
Yeah. And mine is that a lot of people think that I'm Muslim. No, I'm kidding. So this is kind of a weird one. I own a lot of knives. And swords, and blades, and people find that weird. It is weird. I totally understand.
It is, yeah.
The reason being is that I'm a bit of a gearhead. I love gear. I love tools. I love. So like I also have a lot of that, right?
A lot of tactical stuff.
A lot of tactical stuff. Not tactical in the sense of like I don't have like, various pistol grips and things like that, but tactical. Like I love
like tactical matches.
Yeah, like I have tool. Like every room in my house has like a multi-tool in it or something like that, and oftentimes they're just sort of fidget toys. But the fact is, I'm a gearhead, and I think that the knife thing is just something that people sort of latch to because it's an odd thing to have.
Right.
But in reality, I have lots and lots and lots of different types of tools.
It's sort of like a gun nut, but with a different kind of problem.
It's the same obsession. Like it's just liking one thing, but for me, it's just like, it's usually like hardware gear.
Right. Yeah. Well, everyone says like, people that are like really into guns, they're like, it's a tool. And it's like, well, you could just have tools.
Right. Yeah. I know, yeah.
You could just be into screwdrivers.
But it is the same. It's sort of the same feeling. Yeah. Where they enjoy that thing, whether it's like the tactility of it or like the use of it, that's all fine. But just, I think we latch to guns especially, but also knives because people are like, why do you need that many knives? And it's like, well, I enjoy the hardware essentially. I also like carabiners quite a bit. So, and various water filters, things like that.
Right.
So I like a lot of stuff.
You like that? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a weird thing to like.
Okay.
That's weird. All right.
We were dispelling our misunderstandings, not reinforcing them.
I understand you less now.
Okay, cool. Very good.
No, I get that. Like I like stuff. You know what I mean?
Stuff.
And
stuff is
like
cool.
Useful stuff is even better.
Yeah.
Like a knife, useful. I can cut a string.
Those are good.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the stuff that Evan has is like curved towards doomsday prepping, but
I probably wouldn't frame it that way. But what I will say is I'm more prepared than any of you guys.
Right. Yeah. It's like a very light doomsday.
But it's not so much that I'm amassing it for doomsday. It's just that when doomsday comes, I have a lot of stuff that will serve me well.
Right. Not doomsday, but inconvenience day.
Yeah. Sure.
It's like, oh no.
Like if I have to get over a wall, I've got the tools for that.
If he's in, if someone throws a net over him.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Watch. The Ewoks. There's no way. What am I going to get you?
When I invade Andor.
Yeah.
Which I heard was Israel's next target.
All right. What piece of advice sounded dumb until it worked?
Well, this doesn't actually sound that dumb, but it's one of those things that people like. My dad used to say this to me, and it would annoy me when I was a kid. He would always say, "Never pass up an opportunity to shower or piss." Yeah.
Yes.
And that when I was a kid, it was like one of those things where I'd be like, I know, Dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but then you're in the car and you're like, I had my chance and I didn't think I needed to go, but I needed to go. Or you're like traveling and you're like, well, it's a short travel day, so I didn't shower this morning because I'm going to shower when I get to my destination. But then your flight gets delayed for 8 hours and you're stuck in the airport and you feel gross. So you just take those opportunities when you can take them.
That's good. That's good advice.
That is good
advice.
I
never heard that, but I think that's right.
Yeah, he is right.
I think I'm actually going to borrow another one from old Brandon Hull.
Yeah, shout out Brandon Hull, Nebraska native.
Okay. He's the best kind of luck is no bad luck.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So I think that keeps me from buying as many lottery tickets as I would. Yeah. I think also just like being grateful for what you have rather than kind of aspiring for like, oh, I could have had this if I was a little bit luckier, this or that. So, I think it makes more and more sense as you, especially financially. I think there's a lot of times where I'm like, I could gamble on this thing, and then you have that thought, and you're like, I think I'm okay where I'm at.
It's not about seeking the good luck. It's about being happy that nothing has set you back.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a good perspective to have.
I think that's a great perspective because, it was so much was like, things can be better. And it's like, well, just appreciate what you have because that's not guaranteed either.
Right. Well, that was the example that he always used was like, he's like, my life is so good and it's not because anything's gone in a spectacular way that I didn't see coming, but rather because it hasn't gone in a spectacular way that I didn't see coming, like a sickness or a death or something like that, or a fire or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good. I think that's both good advice.
He's a good man.
All right. Yeah. That's your
He's short.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that something you're mad about?
Yeah. 5'8.5". Me, I'm 5'8.5", and I'm the tall one.
If you're under 6 feet, you're going to use those halves.
Yeah, it's halves. Well, yeah, exactly.
I use quarters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 5'10" and 3/4.
That's because he's on the metric system, though.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
With the turban, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, which is cheating.
Yeah, it is cheating, but
no one knows that.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's right. Well, that was another Brandon Hull line.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I don't know where the hell that's from. I don't know. I forget how tall I am.
You're pretty tall.
6'8", 7'2". Who knows?
You present 7'4" for
really?
sure.
Wow.
Yeah, you got that type of energy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to utilize all the shelves. That's what I want to do.
We're trying to teach you how to dunk.
Do you know how to dunk?
I can't.
How high can you jump?
I can get net. I can get like half a net.
I can get half a net though, and I'm
good for you. You're pushing up.
My point is that we
5 less inches.
If we just get you some really good explosive squat training, you'll be dunking anytime.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll work on it after the pod. Why don't you turn the pod off? We got some stuff to do.
This podcast is now about squat training.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, like, Zach, I wish you would squat more on the
Explosive
pod.
muscle groups. That's what you got to focus on.
Why is it if you can play the trumpet, you can pull off any hat?
I think it's a misdirection. It's like people go like, what the fuck is that hat? And then he's like, and you're like, okay, well now we have a different thing to worry about.
I feel like if you can play a horn, you can pull up, like you can be like, okay, 3-corner revolutionary hat.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's because it's the trumpet's already out of place. And so adding the hat it just adds to the out of place aesthetic that we are already liking because we're enjoying your trumpet. Yeah.
I think there's also an underlying sexiness to how well you can play an instrument, and I feel like kind of like the suit maketh, or the man maketh the suit, something like that. Is that what it is? It's
I get that.
It's not the suit does not maketh the man. Whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah. It's like kind of like the trumpet. Just I don't know. There's like an underlying. You know what I mean? Like,
and the trumpet should be a deeply unsexy instrument. But it's
not.
Somehow not if you can cook on a trumpet.
Well, I think if you spent like so much of your life getting into the trumpet, you're marching by your own beat.
Right. You're not worried about hats.
Right. Yeah. You're more of an artist. You're more in like a free spirit.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever hat you want.
I don't think, but I feel like there's like 3 or 4 hats that those trumpet guys stick with.
Right.
Pork pie.
Newsy cap. Top hat, like steampunk top hat.
Do you guys know hat names?
Yeah, I know a couple hat names.
I understand why you might not. But yeah, I think because that's hats all we have.
A bowler.
A bowler's nice. I think I'm out on a yarmulke. That's a hat.
That is a hat.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, we got the what's another nice one, because we got the tricorder.
We got the beanie,
right?
Of course.
We got the pirate hat.
Pirate hat's
I'm
nice.
like shocked that your guys.
Producer says fez.
Fez is good.
Yeah. Man, you guys are really up on your hat game.
I got another hat in mind, but I can't think of
cowboy.
It. Well, helmet.
Helmet's
a hat.
Helmet is a hat.
It's kind of sad if you're wearing that.
Yeah.
Sunblock can be a hat if you're a bald guy. What about that?
Visor.
Where does hat end?
Where does hat end? Where does hat begin?
Well, I think that one's pretty clearly.
Is it simply headwear?
Well, yeah. I guess begs a good question, because if you put a hat over your junk, is it underwear? Similarly, if you put underwear on your head, is it a hat?
I mean, that's like a pretty deep philosophical question.
It is. Like, does the hat maketh the clothing item, or does the clothing item maketh the hat?
If you wear it on your head, is it a hat? If you wear it somewhere else, does it cease to be a hat?
Yeah, but that goes with anything. You know? A chair is a doorstop.
Stetson, trucker hat, and fedora.
All right. He spelled fedora wrong, but that was pretty good.
But it's good. If there's, I mean,
also Stetson. No, wait, hang on. Stetson is a brand of hat.
It's a kind of hat as well.
It is?
Yeah, it's like Band-Aid.
I rescind my statement.
It's a thing. Yeah.
It's a Band-Aid type of thing.
All right. Understood.
I think this hat stuff is hot. It's a hot idea about hats.
I don't know if, you know the Willy Wonka hat? What is that one called?
This top hat?
Is that just
hat, or a stovepipe hat?
Stovepipe, yeah.
And
he was a little steampunky too. I was wearing your mom as a hat for a couple of years in there. Hey, come on now.
That's pretty fun.
Jesus.
That's fun.
Yeah,
it's uncalled for.
Cool. Next question.
we all out of hats?
Yeah. I mean, I think your producer's on a sort of a hat tear.
Google hats. See if anything comes up.
More hats. We'll pipe the conversation back into hat mode.
A bowler's a good one. Remember,
I think it's a ball cap and a trucker hat.
Ball cap,
things, right? But we kind of consider those in the same things as sun hats.
Yeah, well, that could be called. What about those hats that are just small umbrellas?
Yeah.
Or the ones with the two beers on them?
Oh, I guess that's just called a beer. It's called a beer helmet, isn't it?
Viking helmet.
Because you got to make. Yeah, but again, and we are considering helmet as a type of hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is riveting stuff.
This is what the podcast is.
Yeah, no, I that was not sarcastic. I really, truly mean like I haven't done this much thinking about hats in a long time.
We got to go.
If your glasses are on your head, is it a hat or you see what I'm saying?
I don't know.
In the same way that I have a lot of knives, but you know, if I'm eating off of it, is it a fork now? I'm just trying to justify my knife thing.
Yeah, that's
You just have a hat made of knives.
What if I
a bladed hat
explosively launch a knife out of a gun? Is it a bullet?
I think technically, yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
I think I broke something here.
What makes a good relationship?
My God.
We actually, Sukhjit and I have been talking about this quite a bit lately.
Right.
For external circumstances that are not to be covered on the pod.
Right.
Yeah. And, well, I'll let you start with this one.
Thanks. I think an alignment of core values.
Sure. An
alignment of core values, and then I would say just like communication. I think those are like two solid things that I feel like even if you're completely different and, you know, don't kind of march to the same drum, I think as long as you kind of are synced up, I think that's good.
I think you're not going to know each other's core values unless you can communicate about them.
Right.
Because that's not like a check one box or check two boxes. It's sort of a thing that has to be discovered.
What if both of your core values are being emotionally shut down and reserved and not wanting to communicate though?
You can talk about that.
I mean, that's hard. Yeah. I mean, you can talk about that. I mean, we all have our discrepancies about like what we have a hard time like sort of processing. It's a matter of like sort of knowing those boundaries, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I would say, if I was to editorialize, it would be trust is the number one thing because how can you be vulnerable with someone and tell you about your true vulnerabilities and limits and emotions and core values unless you trust them to do what's right with that information.
The flip side of that is that you can't know if you trust someone until you've been somewhat vulnerable with them.
Exactly.
I know. You got to extend that. You got to take that little leap of faith.
Yeah.
And see if they meet you, and you might fall on your face.
But that's what love is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that love is putting that vulnerability and that honesty and that trust in someone else's hands and being like, you're the person I choose to take care of my heart. And then and that's why it hurts so much when they don't.
Yeah.
You can do that with a stranger.
You can.
You could.
You often do. I think this is a little bit more of a less philosophical and a little bit more logistical, but I think that if you can look at the data and it suggests that overall they make your life better in one way or another, even if there's negatives, and if you can look at them and say like this person makes my life better.
right,
then like more so than they detract from it, then I think that that's an important thing.
I think that's good.
I've never been in any, I mean, not just relationships, but like in anything I've ever done, I've never been 100% certain that that was the thing. Mm-hmm. So because I that's just how my brain works. And I can look at her when I've been in a relationship for 6 years and I love her very much. And one of the reasons why is because I can look at this and say, oh, my life is better with you being in it.
I get that.
And that's part of the reason why I love this person. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because it's like you can, and then on the flip side of that, I've been in relationships in the past where I'm like madly in love with this person emotionally, but they make my life actively worse.
Yeah.
And so you have to find a level between those two where you're like, even if I'm not always super excited about being with this person, mm-hmm. my life is overall way better with them in it. And their love for me is one of the things that makes me love them.
Right. And that idea of making your life better, that's a real hard thing to grasp, because sometimes the up and down will keep you engaged and keep you excited, but also it doesn't really make your life any better.
Yeah, no. And I think a lot of people would agree that the best relationships are often very boring.
Sure.
Because you've found a person that you are just living next to. And that's not a bad thing. That's something where you're like, oh, I'm comfortable being my full like living potential next to and in accordance with this person.
Right. You know what my wife says? She says, we want to be two pillars of the same tape. I think this is great. So let me restart that again instead of completely butcher it.
Yeah, it's a pretty wobbly table.
Yeah. Two pillars in the same temple.
Two pillars in the same temple.
Right?
Yeah. We're both like, supporting the same roof.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But we're individuals.
Yes.
And we have our own strengths and weaknesses, and we exist. We exist in the same place, but we exist independent of one another as well.
And without each other, the pillar might be standing, but the temple wouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. That's beautiful.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Tell her hi.
I will.
Okay.
If you take out one pillar of a temple, will it fall?
Well, I mean, it depends on how many pillars are.
Now we're talking about polyamorous relationships, right?
Yeah. If there's like 12 pillars, you can do without one pillar. What if there's only like 4 pillars on each corner?
But then if you take 2 pillars from one side and there's 10 left, but there's 2 missing on one side.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot to consider.
There's a lot to consider.
There's a lot. Yeah.
In terms of what you said, like, making your life better, I read a book after one relationship that failed, because I was like, I really got to recalibrate my idea of what love is. It was called Fuck Love, and it was about approaching it as you would a business. What benefits the business and all that stuff. And it sounds pretty bleak. I mean, because it sounds very like venture capitalist. It sucks
to think of things as transactional when they're not.
But I thought I found some value in it, because it was essentially like the thing that I gained the most out of it was stop looking at relationships as something that are supposed to be magical, that are supposed to be this fulfilling, life-affirming thing, but rather something that is that exists in the real world and in a very practical way. How does it feed your life, and how does it feed you, instead of like they should be perfect,
right. They should make fireworks every time.
Exactly. Butterflies. Like, that's not the case.
It's not real.
No.
Yeah.
No, we have to like sort of lose that idea of what love is, but rather reframe it in terms of the success of the team.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's great. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That's really nice. I've had another friend kind of do the same thing, and I'm trying to remember. I just lost the book name, so never mind. But but it was similar type of thing where a relationship failed, and then he read this book and it kind of reframed a lot of things for him.
Yeah, was it the Bell Hooks? I forget what it's called, but there's a Bell Hooks book that early on in the relationship with my wife, she gave to me, and I read it.
Whoa.
I forget what it was called, but there's a lot of stuff like,
you got a Bell Hooks girl. That's a good girl.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Grief counselor for a while.
That's what I met her.
Yeah, and now she works a nonprofit, so we're doing good. But she, I can't remember what it was All About Love, I think, by Bell Hooks. And essentially it's all about like, you know, if you love someone, then how do you treat them? How do you show love? What's the, you know, like, because love is not revenge. Love is not hurtful. Love is not something that you like, you know, you don't deserve shit because of love. You know, love is the exact opposite, you know, where you give instead of you think about what, you know, what you deserve. It's a big difference. And, but at the same time, how they treat you should represent the same thing, you know, and then being mindful of that. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Like that's, yeah. I don't know. People tune in this to hear about love. You want to talk about love? Huh? Okay. Any more thoughts about love? It's a pretty big topic. People like it.
Love?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of your pod or just in general?
Just in general. Like it's at the top of the charts.
I think especially nowadays, there's a lot of people that are really super connected but disconnected. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's tough for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah. I don't mean to be the guy who blames the internet for everything, but I do think that a lot of the hurt that we experience on a day-to-day basis, assuming you're living like a normal American life, you're not living through a war zone, all those kinds of things. But these things we sit and we go like, oh, it should be X, Y, and Z because we're seeing all these other people posting their X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But they're only posting those things, and you can't trust those things to be what love actually is or like what life actually is. And you go like, but if I'm not feeling that all the time, but they seem like they are, but it's because they're only showing you this little snippet.
Right.
And so we've been completely diluted by sort of a perfectionist version of the world because everyone's only showing us the good stuff.
Right. We are fans of everyone's PR team.
Yes.
Which is themselves. Everyone's their own PR on social media.
Yeah.
No one's going to, you know, and if some people post like, I'm feeling bad today. And it's like, that sucks. And that's a different coping mechanism that I'm used to or that I would like for myself. But that's, but most people, aren't doing the blandness and the minutia of every day and like and how we get, you know, especially when things are good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially even the news. Like, there's no news article posted about how things are going great.
No. But yeah, and then it's even like to the point where like, you know, those influencers where you're like, oh my God, they just have a good day and they're happy all the time.
Right.
Because that's what they're posting. And it's like, well, no, that's their brand.
Right.
And also that person does have diarrhea. You know what I mean? Like that person still.
Yeah. They're not going to share that.
Right. And they're not going to be like, you know what? Not every day is about hitting your PR. And like, it's like.
Your feed's different than mine. So I think.
But it's like that. It's that important human quality to remember that like none of these people who are online are people.
Yeah.
This is a person representing themselves. In
right. They're an avatar.
That's not a real person right there.
Yeah.
They have a real life behind this thing, but like this is their brand and they're showing you their brand and their brand is being positive and perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And you just see right through it because you're like, there's just no way that you feel this way all the time.
Yeah. And you talk about it in your act in your set about like, you know, what people's algorithms are, you know, like all this stuff and like the wild shit that is TikTok is like sent you. I'm starting to get some weird stuff.
I like it. I like that stuff.
Yeah. Like I have one guy that like makes really good dinosaur noises, right? Middle aged, and then like in the back of his thing, you can still he has a weird like stalkery decoupage situation going on. Like
you're just like, what's going on?
It's like, what's going on with that?
The fun thing about that is that you're like, he might be doing this because he knows what we're looking at. Like he's fixing this so that he knows that like the dinosaur noises aren't the fun part. The fun part is that we're all like, there's something weird going on with
if he does, he's
life.
a genius.
Either that or this is genuinely his life. And those are the things I like to see because those are the kinds of people that really truly exist in the world.
Yeah, the internet has given us a no holds bar like look into real mental illness like never before.
Complete.
It's wild,
and it's also kind of heartening because you see that every single person has a corner of their brain that is deeply mentally ill.
It's true.
And then you go like, it's like the why is everyone anxious now? And it's like, everyone's always been anxious all the time. We're just seeing more of that stuff and we're getting to talk about it more. Right. And that's a good thing. But the downside of that is that those buzzwords like anxiety, like depression, like abuse, like those things have all been sort of diluted because no one knows what they mean anymore. Because you're like, well, if everyone's experiencing it, then it's not that special of a thing. Right. When really, I think we need to reframe it as like, no, everyone is experiencing it. So while it's not special or unique, it's still important to talk about because it helps us all process those things.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think everyone's experiencing it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm using everyone as a hyperbolic statement. But I'm saying like if there is so much of it, and like you hear an older generation being like, everyone says they're depressed now. It's like, yeah, you probably are too,
right?
To some degree.
Yeah. I mean, like, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, well, there was that thing. It was like, well, autism wasn't a thing when I was a kid. It's like, yeah. Well,
have you met my grandfather?
Yeah, my grandfather ate the same meal every day.
Mine had what was called a glue towel, where he would pour glue onto a towel and then pick it off for the afternoon.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's autistic.
Right.
And I love him very much, and he's a great grandfather, but don't tell me that it didn't exist.
Exactly.
They just weren't looking at it.
We just named it.
Yeah.
We just named it, and we started like paying attention to what it was.
Yeah. And you got hit if you...
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got labeled as like weird or like, or, there were other words that
or
I
they would
say on the air.
They would take you to an asylum or something like that.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah. And we now have the ability to sit back and reflect on how we feel, which is a privilege in its own of being like, I actually feel bad.
Yeah.
And
it is a privilege because we have the luxury of being able to analyze those feelings and interrogate them.
And then if like 100 years ago, if you're like, I feel bad, and they're like, well, I don't give a shit. Get back on the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. This is similar. But speaking of self-help books, I read this book a while back that was called Conflict is Not Abuse. Which I think was interesting because what was happening, basically the thesis of the book was like, everyone's using these words abused or toxic or all those things. And all those things can be true, but was that actually someone abusing you, or was it just a conflicting thing? And I'm not talking about parents abusing, like that's a different thing. But like when we talk about relationships, everyone's like, oh, I was abused by this person. Then you hear them talk about it and you're like, well, it just sounds like you were two people who shouldn't have been in a relationship together. Yeah. That's not to say that you didn't do bad things to each other.
Didn't sound positive, but off as abuse. Yeah.
But is that like, are you using the word abuse because that's the only way you think you can be listened to these days? Because all those buzzwords and all those things have kind of gone down the toilet. No one listens to just saying like, oh, I was in a bad relationship. People go like, yeah, we're all in a bad relationship. It's like, well, I was abused. And they go like, oh my God, hang on.
Right. Makes sense.
And it's, I think there's credence to both those things because everyone wants to be listened to because everyone has a voice now.
But
then on the flip side of that, we need to actually interrogate and be like, was I abused or was this just a bad situation?
Well, who's in charge of making that distinction?
No one is. And if you were abused, then that is a thing that you should know and that you should feel that way. And that's important.
Right.
But also, like, let's carefully analyze, like, was this like an abusive situation, or like were we two people who were not good to each other in a bad thing? And that can still be abuse, but I guess I don't know exactly what I'm saying with this, but I just think it's interesting.
I know
how
what you're
the language has been manipulated to not. Manipulated is also a bad word because that sounds intentful, but like to make sure that we're all listened to when everyone has a voice.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that leads into I just want to address the allegation. No.
Yeah, actually, and I think this is a perfect time.
It's just that like you're
people
saying,
are saying Muslim.
People are speaking hyperbolically, so they will get, so people can understand them easier, and they lose the nuance of what is actually going on. So we have less of an understanding, but maybe we shouldn't understand everything that's going on. Just sort of.
And also, it's a good conversation because we need to make sure that everyone is heard, especially when they're being mistreated.
Right.
But we need to have a little bit of nuance back so that we can understand how to level these things and understand that some of this is just a product of human behavior. And that doesn't excuse that behavior, but that like, how do we move forward from it without the nuance?
Okay. Well,
can we pick one of these next time?
You want to pick one after this one? Because this one's good, and I think it continues this conversation. You ever go off a ramp?
Oh yeah.
You ever go off a ramp? Like a ramp? You ever take a bike off a ramp?
A metaphorical
off a ramp?
Dude,
I used to build ramps.
Yeah. Yeah, you like ramps?
Yeah. No, those are good. I think those are critical to self-development.
Yes. Yeah. Especially as a boy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As a girl too, but I think it's just more ingrained in boy culture to be like, you got to jump the 5 stair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to eat it.
You really do have to eat it.
Yeah, to be like
to know what ramps to jump off and what not to.
Yeah, because I think if you do that as a 30-year-old, that's you're gonna have you can do that when you're like 6 to 17.
Yeah, I hit a lot of ramps. Anything with wheels and anything that would launch me, I would hit them not well.
I'm horribly unathletic, I think.
What's the biggest ramp?
I don't think that's true. What's the biggest
ramp you ever went off of? I went off a big ramp in the water.
Yeah, what do we consider a ramp? I did a lot of ski jumps.
A steep incline.
Okay. I did a lot of
go off it.
Off of things with my skis when I was growing up.
Oh, ski ramp. Okay.
Colorado, so that was part of our life.
Yeah.
And a lot of things on my bike. A lot of
bike stuff.
A lot of stair sets. Yeah.
I did jump a stairs.
I've always wanted to jump a car.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think my RAV4 has the shocks for it, though.
Take your car for a ramp.
I feel like mine's is pretty small. I feel like 6-8 inches. You jerry rig stuff.
You get some air, though.
Yeah. You get some air. But I think, especially speed-wise, you get up there. Mm-hmm. It feels like a million miles when you're jumping it. Really and then you look at it from the side and you're like, that wasn't that high.
It's not that huge. Yeah, but it just feels so much bigger when you hit wrong.
Oh God.
I was a diver growing up. So I was always jumping off of
a scuba diver.
No, like like flips and twists off of the diving board kind of diver. Oh, and so I've done a lot of launching myself.
Okay,
and feeling deep pain for those launches.
Okay,
I didn't know that hurt.
Bad.
It can, yeah. I mean, I only know the belly flop,
and it hurts you emotionally too when you do it in front of a bunch of people and you're essentially naked while you do it.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I wasn't that good either. So I have a lot of videos of me in front of people landing flat on my face.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'll show you guys after the pod.
Okay. I don't want to do that at all.
Wait, it's our turn.
Oh yeah, you want to do it? Yeah. No more ramp talk.
No, I love ramps.
Ramps and hats.
I also like ramps. The vegetable.
So these are viewer submitted, or you make?
We got some viewer submitted ones in there. We also have ones that I wrote. We got like 100 that are ChatGPT because I got really tired of writing them.
Oh, okay.
Do you trust your instincts, or do they owe you an apology? This one's good. Mm-hmm. And I think I would venture to guess that all of us feel both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I trust my instincts more so now, but I really do believe that, you have to learn your instincts. You have to learn how to interpret those feelings as well. And you have to learn what you're capable of forgiving and what not to forgive. I trust my instincts when it comes to people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Big time.
And I'm pretty shut off by a lot of people pretty easily.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, because if you do something that makes me think that person's not above board with everything, they're like maybe say something manipulative or like lie or just do some things that make you realize that they don't take responsibility for their words or actions. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep you at arm's length.
Yeah.
I am historically, and we've talked about this a number of times. Historically, I am incredibly. I give a lot of leeway. And it has caused me problems in the past. And I don't just mean leeway with people who have actively done things to hurt me, but I also mean leeway with people that I'm like, I don't like this person very much. Even if they're a nice person, I just don't like being around them, but I'm super, super nice to the point where they latch. Because I have historically had friends where I'm like, oh, I'm clearly the only person who's ever been nice to you in your life because that makes me feel really bad.
I get that.
And then I get these friends that then I get into a situation where I'm like, they think I'm their best friend and I don't want to be in this friendship.
Right.
And so I've had to really amend that as an adult and make more serious boundaries. And then on the flip side of that, when people do things to wrong me, I am, depending on what it is, pretty forgiving initially, and then I often get burned again.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at getting walked all over.
Yeah, it's hard to do fulfill other people's expectations for the relationship when your expectations are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that same on the weirdo manipulative. That stuff I'm always spot on.
Right.
And I have been from a young age. I think this is kind of weird to talk about my sister, but she just did not have good taste in friends. And I would always tell her, like, hey, I don't
personally disagree.
I don't like this person. And then, you know, years later, she would be like, oh yeah, that person sucked. And in the moment, she'd be like, I'm little brother. So she would just be like, shut your mouth or shut your face or whatever. But the thing that I will amend is that I have prejudged people in terms of like being not cool, and then given like a second or even third chance, I'm like, oh shit, they were just being weird that day.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's important, I think.
They're so, and so I think that developing that, because I think on first instinct, most of the time I would be like, oh, we're going to click. And then, but, you know, giving people a couple more chances, I think, but the manipulative stuff, that kind of stuff, I think as soon as I see that, I'm like, baby, I'm gone.
Yeah. I have a very short leash in terms of like, you know, what like, especially when someone's new. Yeah. And then even if they like do that, I'll be like, okay, arm's length, but that doesn't mean that they can't come closer. It's like, you have like,
we have more work.
You have to earn trust.
I need to say this about him too. For as long as I've known him for 6.5 years now.
Yeah.
He's very kind and he's very nice, especially to odd ducks, weirdos, just like I am. I love to talk shit separately, but I would never be mean to that person, as you should never. He's always like, there will be people where I'm like, I don't really like that person. He's weird. And he'll be like, oh, he's nice. He's just an odd, whatever.
Right.
Every time he's come to me and been like, fuck that person, he's been right. Every single time.
Interesting.
And that's a valuable quality.
Yeah.
That is true. I can name like 3 people.
And there are times when he'll say that and I'll be like, what are you talking about? And then he'll be like, no, fuck that person.
Give him time.
And then I'm like, all right, you are correct about this.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Before we have one last question left.
Okay.
And Sukhjit, you're gonna be the person that draws it. But first, please plug your stuff one more time. How can people find you on social media? I know you got a special coming out. How can they follow you? Things like that. Before we go,
go ahead.
Mr. _humorous on Instagram. I don't think I have a Twitter anymore. And that's how you can find me.
Yeah,
mainly.
You can find me. Instagram is the best place to find me. I do have a Twitter, but whatever. It's at Evan Hull Alive. It's Hull, like Hull, like the bottom of a boat, which everyone goes, I go like Hull, and they're like Hull, and I'm like Hull, and they're like Hull.
Like Brett from the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, and then I say, we're related.
Really?
We're not. Oh. I'm actually related to Adam Foote, who from the Colorado Avalanche, which is
I don't give a shit about Foote.
Well, I'm just saying that's a fun. Okay. But then I say like the bottom of a boat and they get that. So follow me on Instagram there. And I do have a special, a full hour dropping on July 9th on YouTube. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all that stuff. Oh, yeah. Please watch it, share it. And if you hate it, if you hate it, send it to all your friends and be like, this sucks. You know what I mean?
Right. Get those views up.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, but hate views or, you know what I mean? Like, just plug that.
Engage. Tell me how much you hate it.
If you like it, send it to your friends and be like, I love this. And if you hate it, post it everywhere.
Comment.
Yeah. Comment. Yeah.
Wow. But that's how you get in the algorithm. Yes. It's by comments.
And if you tell me to kill myself, that's okay. I guess I'm okay.
It's a comment.
It's a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
they'll get flagged by YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Last question. Best for last.
I think.
Or what?
Or no real hurry. I think we got like 5:10.
What is your hometown famous for?
Okay.
Can I start?
Yeah, please.
My hometown, which I've moved around a little bit, but Washington Courthouse, Ohio. It is very close to the longest name for a hometown because it is the city of Washington Courthouse. And it has the most fast food per capita.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think at one point
Is that measured by like single burgers slung?
No.
By restaurant?
It's by restaurant. Okay. We had the most, I think at one point we held the spot for most fast food restaurants per capita.
That's cool.
Wow.
It was insane. We had 2 Burger Kings, 2 McDonald's, Arby's, anything that you can think of in terms of fast food, we have.
Well, how large is this town?
Not very.
Yeah.
Unbelievably small.
Like less than 10,000?
I would say either 13 or 30,000. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. That's still, I mean, 2 Burger Kings, that's luxurious.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I grew up in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
So that's obviously famous for a lot of things. I would say probably stinkiest, crunchiest feet. Would be one of those things. Also, Roseanne Barr.
That's right.
And the Columbine shooting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We were first in flight when it comes to shootings. We were sort of pioneers on that front.
Not a lot to. Yeah, I don't know how proud about that you're supposed to be.
I didn't say I was proud. You asked what I was famous for.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was proud. I'm not proud of the Roseanne Barr thing either, or the stinky feet thing.
Stinky feet. What is this stinky?
I'm just saying, there's a lot of crunchy hippie white
folks.
Yeah.
What about the other things? Like
what TJ Miller?
Yeah. Denver has a lot of good stuff going for it. Denver's a wonderful place.
Amazing city. And I'm not in any way disparaging my town.
Was it Washington Court?
Washington Courthouse.
Washington Courthouse, the city of Washington Courthouse. But you said it was close to being, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, I think there's some Norwegian town that has like.
Oh yeah, they love the letters.
A million vowels.
Yeah.
Not enough consonants.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the other way around. I don't know. I looked it up because I think you'd hear those rumors as a kid in school, and you'd be like, really? And then you had to look it back up in an encyclopedia back then.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. You'd order.
I like encyclopedias. They were fun.
Encyclopedias that would go out of date.
Well, I sure do know a lot about the USSR.
God, I've heard Yugoslavia is nice this time. Right. My 1986 Britannica says so.
We used to have old Trivial Pursuit cards, and they were in the basement, and that's where I'd smoke cigarettes when I was in high school. So I just read these cards, and it's like so much USSR stuff.
You're like, I knew smoking cigarettes was good for me.
Yeah. My hometown's either Omaha or I would say like Mondayman, Iowa, which is about 45 minutes north of here.
You're a Nebraska boy through and through.
For the most part, I moved here when I was like 10.
Yeah, okay.
Before that, here. There's a lot that we can say Malcolm X, Marlon Brando,
sure, Omaha Steaks. Yeah. Peyton Manning's.
That's the worst, right?
Yeah.
It's like he yelled. He said our name.
Omaha.
He's famous.
Yeah. I think you guys should have a pro sports team.
I think we should too.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. What would you call them?
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay, well.
I can't think of it.
I guess we're not getting one.
Yeah. Well, I guess didn't realize it was on me right now.
All right. Well, that's the whole episode. So even watching this podcast, now you can stop it, which is also the name Stop It by Zach Peterson. The host of this podcast, I was Zach Peterson. Thank you so much for watching it. Now you can stop it. It's Zach Peterson.